severe weather setup is going to be forming over the plains over the next couple of days, which will be bringing a slight risk of severe weather for the next 2 days, which is what I'm going to be talking about in today's weather video. So right now across the United States, it is looking relatively quiet for the most part. We do have some flood watches here and there, and some red flag warnings here and there. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about the severe weather that's going to be happening. Now, for today, we do have a slight risk for kind of like the Central Plains area, right where Tornado Alley would be, where they would mark it. So, western portions of Oklahoma, northern Texas, western half of Kansas, most of Nebraska, eastern Colorado, that slight risk cutting all the way up into Minnesota. And our biggest threat will actually not be the tornado threat. It will actually be the hail and wind threat that will be happening, which we do have a 15% chance of within this whole yellow area, kind of like where around the slight risk area is, as well as a larger 5% that will extend from Mexico to Canada. For the wind outlook, again, it's kind of like the same areas for both hail and wind, and that 5% chance will still extend from Minnesota down to near the Mexico border. Our tornado threat is only a 2% chance, mainly for central Nebraska, southeastern South Dakota, just a little bit of Iowa and Minnesota, and as well as northeastern Colorado. So tornadoes are going to be kind of like we might have like, just one or two, a couple here and there. For day 2, we do have a kind of like a French fry of a slight risk from northern Texas through most of Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, central Missouri, going a kind of way all the way through the Quad Cities into southern Wisconsin. And again, that marginal risk will be extending from Canada to Mexico in a very long line. So we can't forget about the flooding too, as we do have a slight risk chance of that, kind of around, Nebraska, southeastern South Dakota, right around where that tornado risk is. We'll have a slight chance of that happening. We also have 2 different areas of a marginal risk of flooding throughout the, the 4 states and the 4 corner states, as well as kind of like the central plains, but Kansas might actually be having a break for today. Now, tomorrow we already even have a larger slight risk extending down from Iowa through Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It will clip a little bit of Arkansas too, as you can see from there, and this will go kind of all the way up into Illinois and, Iowa's little facing, if that's what you call it. Now, for composite reflectivity, a lot of this stuff will probably happen towards the evening time, right around as we get, to 4 to 5 o'clock. Those cluster of storms will be moving from the Rocky Mountains, moving into the plains over here. And then they'll move about evening, and our big stuff will definitely be through overnight hours, where we get at those line of storms. And stuff over here, especially in Nebraska, we could be seeing some embedded tornadoes in this line of storms where we get our 2% chance. And then you can see that over here, we do see these line of storms, so damaging winds and hail with these winds. It could also be a very big issue as well. And now we'll move it to overnight, and then it'll kind of even last until a little bit at the morning here too, as this moves out. This will become a less of a severe weather threat as we get to the morning, and then things will start to ramp up again till we get to tomorrow evening, and then those line of storms will continue moving, because we do have a larger slight risk for tomorrow than today. Now, how much rain can we be seeing from these storms throughout the next, 2 days or so? I mean, if we look through here, as you can see from the ARRR, some areas over here in Oklahoma could see, up to 4 inches, in some places maybe even up to 5 inches. Nebraska could still see a good swath of 3 to 4 inches as well, because typically if you have any slow-moving storms, they'll cause excessive rainfall. Over here in Missouri, where we don't really need any more rain, up to 5 inches out of the mark. Over here, in Kansas, almost up to 4 inches. So any of these areas you see red is like 2 to 3 inches. And then this like yellow gold stuff is like 4 to 6 inches, which is a lot of rain for especially for only 2 days as well. And a lot of these grounds over here too, they're already been saturated from other rain events. So flooding could become a very big problem over here in the plains. For climate, the CDC is, predicting that most of the country will be experiencing warmer than average temperatures, except over here, kind of in the plains, where we might have, it's a little bit of cooler than average temperatures. But really, anywhere else in the country, we're gonna be seeing above than average temperatures, so it will be hot for most of you guys. For the 6 today, 10-day precip outlook, again, most of the country is probably going to be more on the wetter side of things, except for the Pacific Northwest, where it might be a little drier than average conditions. 1 to 2 week temperature probability is going to stay about the same for, the first week, so not much is going to be changing. And that will kind of go with the same thing for the precip probability too for the first 2 weeks. Now, for the rest of the country, we will be seeing that low kind of moving through the Rocky Mountains into the plains over here. And then once that kind of moves out, we'll have high pressure building up over here in the northern plains for a little bit as we go into the next week of June. And then as that is going to be moving out, we might even have more moisture coming behind this with more rain coming in. And that could be causing, another low disturbance to move through the northeast. And that could also be causing more flooding and severe weather. And then behind this, we might have another low over here in Canada, which could be bringing some line of storms too. Now, the GFS model can't go all the way through. It's only at about halfway, but all the way kind of until, Juneteenth, we'll be saying is that, you might see some more lines of severe thunderstorms and flooding still going on. And this has been quite a thing that we've been seeing, a trend that's been happening for the last 2 weeks or even almost a month now. So that's going to be the end of today's weather update video. If you guys like to see another one, make sure you guys consider giving a like and subscribe or sharing it to other people. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.